They come. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to Thursday morning, or as I like to call it, pre-Friday.
Good morning.
Morning, David.
Good morning.
Good morning, Manny.
Good morning.
Good morning. I didn't see who said that because I was looking at the
Good
right
morning.
side.
Good morning, guys.
Everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, everyone, put into the chat box. What are your weekend plans? What are you doing this weekend? Happy Friday Eve. And make sure you put your camera on. We want to be able to look at you and see you. Hiking, anyone who want to join? It does sound like a lot of fun. Filming, relax, work, more work, sleeping, more work. Yes. Golden Crown with my girlfriend. Wow, David, you are so romantic. Finishing homework and going to the doctors. Yep, sounds like a very exciting weekend all around. Do our deliverables, yes. Larry, deliverables are what we call is our homework, but we call it deliverables. So
Gotcha.
lots of deliverables going around.
That's a smart way to phrase it.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. As you can see, we're joined by our very special guest, Mr. Larry, who was so kind to donate some of his time this morning to talk with us, to share some of his story, and to open up a Q&A. I shared his bio a little bit yesterday, and I hope that you spent last night, the whole entire night, you didn't sleep, just thought, what questions am I going to ask Larry? Because he's a wealth of knowledge and information, and we are so glad to have him join us. So go ahead, in the reactions button, give the clap. We're going to welcome Larry to our class, and we'll go ahead and pass it over to you whenever you're ready.
I'm ready to roll. I appreciate the claps. It's very nice. It's actually the first time I'm seeing, I think this is the largest Zoom call I've ever been on. So with all the reactions. But my name's Larry. I run a company called Data Analytics Solutions based in DC, and I do IT consulting. And I was pretty much like you guys. A long time ago. I did not actually have an educational background in IT, so you guys are actually a leg up for me. But my business is very simple as far as the consulting model goes. I put people, we go out, we win work, we price out that work, we bill people at, let's just say $100 an hour, and I pay them $50 an hour, and you sort of make a profit from that. But there's a lot of intricacies that go around to building a business like this. It takes a very long time, but it goes to show you what in the IT field there are a lot of different ways to go. You don't have to be a developer to be good in IT. There's just a lot of things that are in high demand that are necessary. You will be surprised how stupid people are and how people can't actually run and operate, just basically use software. Software is designed for them and what they do, and you have to sort of either work around them or train them, and there's basically a lot of money in that. There are people out there that I've known, and I work down in here in DC. We do a lot of federal government contracting, and there are people that are basically paid a lot of money to teach people how to use Microsoft Excel. So the opportunities there are actually pretty big. There are things that obviously when you go to choose what you want to do in your IT career, you want to from a perspective of, if you know how to develop code, that's one thing, and that's probably the highest, most valuable skill out there. But if you can't, and most people can't, there's 90. I'd argue 90% of people can't write code, and it's akin to learning another language. If you're really good at learning, multiple different languages, it may be something for you. But for most people, it's really not necessarily about that. It's really having a full understanding of how to use a software, what its purpose is there for, and then properly implementing it to a customer need. So, from, your perspective, you guys are young adults starting your IT career. And if you want to focus on a field that really depends on something that, you want to find passionate about. So I would say the first thing, generally is almost business analysis, right? So, and what I mean by business analysis, it's not like, running a business per se, but it's understanding what problem a software is solving and how you can utilize a software to help solve a problem. So take, for example, the most like, kind of popular software that we utilize right now is Microsoft Office 365. So you guys, I'm sure you use Microsoft products, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and whatnot. But Microsoft has a whole suite of products called Office 365, which includes like, Microsoft Teams, which is very equivalent to, it's basically a combination of Zoom and Slack, SharePoint, and basically there's probably 100 different Microsoft products that are out there that people already pay for, that people use, that pay for, that don't use, that need integration and support and help. They need security support. They need to teach people how to, teach people to use it. There's, all kinds of little intricacies that, go along with it that really can amount to a lot of money. Now, the one thing is, like, the easier the software it is, more likely the easier it is for somebody else to understand how to use it, and the less that software is going to be quite valuable to use a career. So internally, your points of career, the best thing for you to do is understand, hey, look where salaries are now for things that you may want to consider doing, right? It's kind of a chase. It's a very much a supply and demand issue, right? From a supply and demand issue, if there's only a need for 5 Microsoft SharePoint people, and there's 1,000 people on the market that know Microsoft SharePoint, the price goes down, right? So, but there are skills that are in high demand, and I'll give you another example, like taking a software that you may have heard of or not may have heard of called ServiceNow. ServiceNow does a lot of back end IT. You wouldn't normally see ServiceNow, but that's very much in high demand. Or Salesforce, right? You guys have heard of Salesforce before. There's a lot of integration. These companies have software, but they need, they don't, when you set up software, it just doesn't, magically work for your organization. There's a lot of integration. There's constant continual improvements that go along with it that you need to be aware of, involved in. But the better what software you have, the better how it works, and the better how how it can solve problems. That's essentially better for your customers, and essentially increases your value to any potential employer. And it doesn't matter. You may be an employer that let's just say is a ServiceNow developer, right? Let's just say and ServiceNow is a great example of something that you guys could probably learn about and get into, because the development there is basically very similar to I would say code Lego, right? You're not putting together coding per se, but you're basically putting together parts in a sort of a Lego formation to create a software module that helps solve a problem. And a lot of essentially the future of software is like that, right? If you go to another big one you may have heard of, like Amazon Web Services, right? Amazon Web Services, Amazon puts out this crazy cloud that everyone uses, and what ends up happening is they provide 1,000 different services. Let's just say, I don't know the exact number of 1,000 different services, but what they do is they pay people that let's just say you don't know how to code, right? But you're pretty good at putting puzzles together. AWS is a perfect puzzle piece together, where you go, okay, well, look, I know you're looking to build a software. Let's just say, not necessarily a customized software. You're not going to build one from scratch. But I know with AWS, with 1,000 different services that they provide, I can put together these 10 different services and build a software for, my client, my customer. So just having that knowledge of understanding what those services are is very valuable. You may not be able to weave those services and actually put them together, right? But the fact that you know that those services are there and you're able to put those puzzle pieces together on paper is a valuable service that people will pay for. So having a full understanding of what that is going to increase value. The more education and understanding, and keep in mind, when I talked to your teacher, I'm a guy that did go to college, but when I tell people in the world of IT, college really doesn't matter at all. Like I hire people all the time that I don't care if they went to college. I don't look at their degree. In fact, if I see an MBA, I don't even look at them because I'm not really interested in hiring them. I just look to see if people can understand and do. And if you can talk intelligently about something, that's pretty much about 50% of the game. And then, and the rest you can sort of figure out, with search queries. So, having, a full understanding of what you can do, accumulating a lot of, these certificates. So every IT company out there has basically training certificates, right? And a lot of them offer them for free. You'd be shocked how many offer them for free. Or you talk to a company and they'll be like, yeah, just, go here. Here's free studying tools, because there's a lot of, companies that basically use this as a marketing tool. They want people to learn and understand it. So the more certificates you have, that beefs up your resume, the more, qualified you are. Learning how to, being able to intelligently talk about something is essentially, will get you through the door. And you can probably figure out a lot for us from there. I've seen people do it, and be able to figure it out. So as long as you can figure things out, it's a pretty strong market. So on your end, if you have a particular passion for something, even in a specific industry, you can there are a lot of IT components that are built into it. It's just trying to understand, hey, what's that job? Go to Indeed, go to Hot Jobs, go to Monster, and go look for what that job is and what they're requiring, and build your education background on that. And the beautiful thing is right now your education is very malleable. You can go out and learn whatever you want to, and you don't have to have a BA, a Bachelor's of Arts to do this. You can go out there and learn this in 6 months and be able to to get the job. You may not get a huge amount of money initially on, but the experience that you have built up within just 2 years can propel people's careers pretty fast. I've seen it many times before. This is my expertise. I'm a CPA by trade, so I basically am the money man behind the scenes. So I see what people do that are successful, and 99% of the time it's hustle and not and not about anything, what their educational background is, who they look like, it's about hustle and being able to go out and impress people and say, look, I know this stuff. I know I can help you. Now there's, people, go the wrong way, and that's okay too. But there are tons of mistakes being made, but this isn't a world that requires precision. This isn't, scientific, exactness that needs to be going. It's IT. There's constant mistakes that happen all the time, but you can fix them and course correct all the time. It's a constant building flow. Nothing remains the same. Everything constantly changes. So it's really about staying on top of it. So on your end, it's the world is your oyster. You can sort of do what you want, but doing nothing is probably the worst thing. But there's tons of, right now, you have tons of time, within class and what you learn with your deliverables, but there are things, outside of class that offer free, you'd be shocked how much free training is out there from a perspective, how much free learning you can do on YouTube, and just to understand a product and go from there, how many free setups, because companies do want you to learn their software because it only enhances what they do. So that sort of thing. So you have any, I guess, questions so far?
Awesome. Thanks, Larry. Can we give Larry a clap, and then we'll go ahead and start filling in some questions for Larry. You can put them down in the chat box. And actually, let's do this. Why don't you raise your hand on the right side by your name, and we'll go ahead and call on you, and you can ask Larry your question directly. So I have a question for you, Larry. We talked yesterday about your bio. You've been in the working world as long as some of these folks have been alive.
Yep.
So if you had to think through what have been some of the areas of success, like what have been some of your best practices, not only to be successful, but now you own your own company. Like if you had to break it down to 2 or 3 or 4 things, what would you say were those qualities that you're glad that you did to bring you to where you are today in your career?
That's a good question. I think the majority of being able to the majority of it and myself and my business partner I kind of laugh because myself and my business partner don't actually do very much touching the keyboard of doing anything. I laugh at my business partner. We're basically professional meeting attenders, and you laugh, but it's true. We hire people that are actually doing the technical work for us, and we know how to do it for the most part. But it's really about the communications with the customers, keeping them. The customers are always going to sort of be upset because they don't necessarily understand what's going on. Helping them understand. That's 80 to 90% of the job. And so I guess from that perspective, understanding your customers, keeping good communications with them, keeping good relationship with them. It's going to be a lot harder, now these days in the social distancing world. But being able to maintain that relationship is probably the most important thing. That a skill set you can keep. So try to work on those personal skills are something that gonna help you professionally. It's gonna help you personally. Being able to make jokes in tough situations, that sort of thing. So I'm a big football fan. So there's a funny you guys aren't old enough, but there was an old NFL football game where John Elway is down. They just punted it, and he's on the 2-yard line, has to go 98 yards, and he tells his team with in a minute and a half, and he goes, "All right, guys, we got him right where we want him." Right. So it's kind of a joke, but from a perspective, it sort of gets people on your side and being able to persuade people. And persuasion is really a big thing. Being able to persuade people on your side, not yell at them, not demand anything from them, but then persuading them to be on your side is probably the most important tool.
Wow, awesome. Thanks, Larry. I see Jesus' hand and Samaj's. Jesus, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask Larry your question.
Hey, Larry, thank you for your time, first off. And my question is, what are some of the best certifications to start off in IT?
The first certifications I would go for are the AWS Cloud Practitioner certifications. So AWS or Azure are basically the 2 dominant clouds, the cloud platforms. Google also has theirs, but it's not quite as open as everyone else. But if you go out and, I'm sure you guys have all seen AWS commercials. They basically run, everything, behind the scenes. Anything Amazon is a very big market, big marketability. So if someone says, "Hey, you got a cloud practitioner," wow, that's you at least studied something and you know what's going on. If you got a developer, AWS developer, one, it's even harder. So that's one I'd certainly go after. So anything AWS is pretty good. Or
Thank you.
Thanks, Jesus. Thanks, Larry. The next hand I see is Karina. Unmute yourself and ask Larry your question.
Hi. I'd like to know if you talked about coding. Do you specifically specialize yourself in coding?
We do. I personally am not a coder, but I do have coders that work for me. They generally do have the highest salaries, no question. And that's we sort of work in a world where that is important. So that's one where if you can code and you're pretty good at it and you're able to take and build things from scratch, that's probably the skill set to go with, especially if you like it. But I'll be honest, most people aren't that good at it. And most people, it's about 10% of the population that are really good at it. So don't feel bad if you're not good at it. I'll tell you, I'll give you an honest answer. I got a C in Visual Basic. Visual Basic is one of the basic, easiest codes out there, right? So, so it doesn't necessarily mean you can't do a field in IT. And in my experience, most coders aren't really good talkers. So a lot of times they have, their careers hindered by their communication skills. So, but if you do, know how to code and do well, you don't need a college degree. You can learn it, learn it from scratch yourself. You can, there's code that's a little easier to learn, like Python. Python is a language you can probably pick up, pretty fast. It's easy to learn. There's a lot of places out there that you don't necessarily need to, I guess if you're going to go in the Microsoft world, understanding PowerShell is a good one. That's also not that difficult of a one to learn. It's not going to make you a huge amount of money. Like if you're, but you can do pretty well with it. So, and being able to weave things out. So I guess another thing to learn, like I discussed before, how AWS is basically a conglomerate of, a bunch of different services that you put together for your client, right? Like, Major League Baseball has an AWS platform that, that has all their stats, right? But what they did is they basically put together all these services. Now I may know about those services, right? But there's somebody that has to weave them together. And, if you can, learning to weave them together is a different skill set as well. So if you can figure out how to do that, that's a valuable skill set.
Okay.
Awesome.
I asked because I was teaching myself JavaScript at a certain point. I was trying to teach myself code.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, great question, Karina. Next we have David. You're gonna unmute yourself and ask Larry your question.
Hi, Larry. First off, thank you so much for being with us today.
No problem.
And also, have you ever interviewed anybody who had experience in pen testing software such as Kali Linux or servers such as Ubuntu Server?
Yeah, we have. I don't do a lot of the technical interviewing, but I know we definitely, as far as penetration testing, that's a very big industry right now. Security is, it's kind of a weird thing. I've had to deal with this now. Development security, whether it's hardware or software. So obviously, hardware side is like someone just goes in and steals your computer, right? And then it's open. There's no password. That's hardware and whatnot. But there's all kinds of other physical type security issues that you have to work through. But then there's also software security, right? So someone builds an application, right, for you. Let's just say, like Facebook's an application, right? But there's about another 50% of effort that goes into protecting that security and protecting that data that goes in there. I would almost argue right now, in the world we live in, it's, security is about almost 80% of what we do, and the actual application itself is about 20%. So, and that kind of goes in the world of security as well, where it's very that's a very big industry. And if you looked at salaries for people that do development, security, operations, and everything that goes around security, whether it's being able to understand Splunk, those are things that are very high value. So I guess as far as pen testing goes, yeah, there are whole businesses that are designed around pen testing, penetration testing. I know people that have built businesses around that.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Great question, David. Mahmoud, your hand is up next.
Hello, Larry. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for your time. I just want
problem.
to ask, for someone who, let's just say, got the AWS certification, would you recommend they try and start their own consulting business first, or should they try and find employment first?
I would recommend you find employment first, get experience, understanding, how it is. Having a certification and trying to start a business is probably is not the best thing unless you already have a client and you're learning on the fly, which can great, but I think most people that the problem is you just don't have the experience yet to be able to fully serve your customers well. Just knowing it is not, knowing and learning it, can get you through the door. but having that experience, at least, wait for, 4 or 5 years till you have a full boatload of experience before you start going out and consulting.
All right, thank you.
Great question, Mahmoud. Excellent. Pablo?
Hi, Larry. Good morning. My question is, do you think cybersecurity is a really big field in IT at the moment?
Yes, cybersecurity is a monster field. So if you're looking in the world, I think the most secure areas right now are probably in financial tech, and which is obviously big in New York. So that'd be a big one. And then healthcare tech, because they have this law called HIPAA, which basically guards personal medical data, and they're under very stringent standards. So the cybersecurity side is probably, I would say, 60% of what's going on right now. And as far as IT goes, that's where the majority of, I would say the majority of new jobs, very decently high paying. If you know how, obviously if you know how to watch a screen and understand, like attacks are happening, it's not that hard. You can, most people can, sit in a watch center and understand what attacks and sort of alert people and do things. But then going in and deeply implementing that software, or going there if you're a developer and developing security protocols around it, those are very big businesses. So that's definitely a good field to be in.
Thank you.
Good question, Pablo. The next hand I saw was Hannah.
Hello, good morning. I wanted to ask, what advice do you give to your employees to handle high pressure situations? Because at one point I was working at Capital One in a mailroom, and I've seen coders spend the night at work, like during really bad situations.
Yep. I mean, that's a tough one. I think, you have to, I mean, coding is one of those things where it's very when you're a developer, it's a very roller coaster type thing. It's not a linear type of work. It's either you're working 12, 13 hours on a sprint, and then you're, basically, off for a couple weeks until you go back up again. And those, can be very high stress situations. But, on my end, it's not, going out and just, not thinking about them. It's really, sort of being there with them, having a, good understanding, being with the team, sort of, helping, having as much corporate support as we can, possible to let them know that, hey, we're in this together, we're fighting this together, and we're trying to, work it all out. So I mean, that's sort of, when you have a little more team camaraderie, that helps. But if you have a fractured team, it's going to be very difficult. And, sometimes there is addition by subtraction. So if someone, on the team is very disruptive and whatever they're producing, and this goes to a career overall, if you're more of a pain in the ass, a person who's not really helping the team, but just, pushing out complaints and not helping, that can create a lot of disillusion with the team. So it's really just kind of create a cohesive team together. That's probably the best way. Stressful situations are just going to happen all the time. You're going to have tough customers, but you have to sort of keep your head about you and understand that, hey, look, these are our customers. We got to keep it going. So.
That's an awesome question, Hannah, and thanks for that answer, Larry. And I want to be mindful of the time, Larry. I know you we have you till 11, and we have 4 more hands. Do you have a meeting at 11 or anything that you have to hop onto, or?
I have a little bit of time. I got like another 5 minutes. So
okay,
all good.
So let's do till 11:05. The next hand I saw was Tiana. Thank you, Larry.
No problem.
Hey, good morning. I was going to ask, the question is, what is the best advice you would give us when that we are coming into the IT world?
If you're just coming into the IT world, understand, develop an expertise, I guess, around your software. If you're coming in and looking around at a specific software you want to, a specific world you want to look into, there's lots of training and understanding you can do outside of, just showing up. And that's where you're going to want to learn and say, okay, well, take, Salesforce for an example, right? So you want to understand what Salesforce is. You want to understand what problems it solves. That's the best way to go in there. Don't go in uneducated. Just go in, learn as much as you possibly can, and then learn on the job. So just be eager, hustle. The attitude is probably, again, 99% of it. That's where, if you go in with a good attitude and you go in with a learning attitude, you're going to do well. If you go in with a bad attitude, it's going to yield the same, that exact result.
Yeah, excellent advice and great question, Tiana. Next hand I saw was Ricardo. You can unmute yourself and ask Larry your question.
Hi, how are you, Larry? Thank you for coming in today. My question is, you were talking about not going to college and that college is not really necessary in this field.
Correct.
You have your business now, but before you got your business, did you run into any situations where not having a degree was an obstacle for you?
Technically, so I do have a degree. I got in this, but I'm also not I'm not personally an IT person. I hire a lot of people. Shockingly, I'm the IT person for my company that's an IT company, but I'm not personally an IT company. But I look to hire people that can do. That's more the attitude when I look to see people who can do, because I've been doing this for a long time. First you have to get through an interview and have to be able to talk about it intelligently. You'd be shocked how many people can't get through an interview because you ask a basic question and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, if I know what this is, I'm personally knowing what this is, you should know what this is. It's in the specific subject matter, especially recruiters. So, they don't know a lot about the IT. Most people, when you initially talk to somebody, it's a recruiter. But if you can intelligently talk about something, not having a degree can start your salary a little bit in the beginning, because someone's not going to pay you as much as they would, as someone with a college degree, but that's short term. That's very short term. That lasts for maybe 2-3 years. Once you know something, that's what people care about. Nobody cares about your degree anymore. Nobody cares about your GPA. It does not matter. So as long as you stay on top of it, keep yourself educated, you'll be fine.
Thank you very much, Larry.
No problem.
Yeah, great question, Ricardo. And just to piggyback off Larry's comment, I've been in the working world about as long as Larry has. And if you look at my resume, my degree is at the very, very bottom, because most people just care about your work experience at that point. Where you went to college, what you studied, at a certain point, it becomes obsolete. All right, Usman, last question, then we're going to let Larry go. Thank you again, Larry, for your time.
No problem.
Hi, Usman. Thank you, Larry, for taking your time. My question is, you say you've been working with Microsoft ever since you started.
Mm-hmm.
What are some key new things that we should be focusing on more? Because there are a lot of people that know Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that are key right now to learn?
I would say understanding, if you're going to go right now, I'd say understanding the security side of Microsoft is very important. So that's where there's a lot of tools that are set up within Microsoft and a lot of nooks and crannies that go around to it. You don't need to be technical. If I was right now just starting a career and be like, okay, I need to learn, Office 365 is very hot. People, most people already have it and pay for it, but they don't know how to use it. And there's a huge, if you ever look, you can probably just go get one. It doesn't cost very much money to go, build your own little panel and just go in and learn yourself on how to build, your own internal Office 365 panels. So if, you on your end, you could just sit there and go, okay, well, I'm going to set up a website. I'll set up my own Office 365 environment, and they'll give you, pay for a basic, 2 licenses, which is like not even that much money, like, $20, $30 a month or something like that, and go in and see the admin panel and go in and learn all the admin panels and go like research what this is. There's a whole career that's built inside that admin panel that you'd want to learn. And if you have that understanding, just that basic understanding, you do well. And that's $30 of hands-on education per month.
Yeah. Awesome question, Usman. Excellent. Everyone's questions were great. Larry, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for donating your time this morning. I know you have plenty of things to do, so thank you. It really was an honor to have you in our class today, and we really appreciate all the work that you are doing. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
All right. See you later, Larry.
Bye.
Thank you, Larry.
All right. So do me a favor. Give me a clap or a thumbs up if you enjoyed having Larry with us this morning. Cool. Looks like just about everybody enjoyed having him. The reason I wanted to bring him in is because he's a practitioner. Okay, like he's somebody who works in the field. He hires people in the field. He knows IT, and I think that having someone like that, the knowledge that he has, is really beneficial for all of us as we begin our roles within the IT field with our education here at Year Up. So I'm glad that he was able to donate his time, and yeah, really grateful for him. So we're going to just talk very briefly about a few things. We'll take a break, and then we have our breakout activity. First thing is Mahmoud. He is our assistant instructor today. So Mahmoud, how you doing? You're still on mute.
All right, I'm all right.
So I'm sure you probably know what we're going to ask you already, but yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, why you got involved in Year Up, and something interesting about you.
Well, my name is Mahmoud Alfar. I'm Egyptian. I got involved with Year Up. Basically, I just wanted to get my foot in the door as far as the professional world. I was pretty much near graduating with my associate's degree, but I wasn't sure where I was going to go next. So Year Up just came up at the right time, right place. I guess I got lucky that way. Something interesting about myself. I was across the street from President Obama twice, but didn't meet him.
Wow, interesting. Was that in New York or DC, or where was that?
Both times were in Jersey. One time was in Jersey City. He was giving a speech at college. Another time was in Newark. He was giving a speech at a different college. Both times I was in neighborhoods, but I wasn't invited. So
one day, right? One day.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So fun fact about me is one time I was in DC and I was walking down the street and they had all these like Secret Service guys block the street because Obama was actually coming back from dinner to go into the White House. It's like I also was in the same place as Obama. Of course, I didn't see him; he didn't see me. But that was like a once in a lifetime opportunity to be in the same place as the president, and you had it twice. So pretty cool. And are you from Jersey, Mahmoud? Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, so what we're going to do is I just want to thank you, Mahmoud. I appreciate that. Oh, before you hang up, I'm sorry to unmute yourself. What was the deliverable due last night?
Last night was a professional email after a job interview. And should I mention tonight's deliverable, or will we do that in the class?
Yeah, we'll do that in the class. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Mahmoud. Let's give him a clap, our assistant instructor. Let me go ahead and I just want to share this very briefly. And then we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break. This was last night's assignment. Go ahead and put the chat box up. All right. Mahmoud, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can see that? All right, thank you, Mahmoud. So here's an email I received from Amadul. This was a perfect score. So in the chat box, do me a favor. Like, why was this an excellent example of last night's deliverable? It is to the point, professional language, excellent. Great format. Signature included, mention skills and future plans, excellent. One thing I want to draw all of your attention to, some of you got docked points because there was no, what Chelsea just put there was no call to action. The last line he has there, if you'd like to hire me or have additional questions, please reach out to me. That's something that a lot of you missed in this assignment, or deliverable rather, is you have to have a next step. Like, I'm writing this email because it's not just to say thank you, but it's if you want, if you want to talk more, if you have more questions from me, here's a place to get in contact with me. All right, here's the next one. Amna's did a great, Amna has a question while we share her screen. Amna, you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, I wanted to say I wasn't able to save it as a message, so was it okay that I made a PDF instead?
It is so okay, Amma, that we're sharing yours right now
Yeah, I
as an
didn't know that.
example.
Like, I raised my hand and then I saw mine, and I put it down.
It was no, it was just happened to work out that way. Great
Yeah.
job. So let's take a look at Amna's example. And yes, to answer her question, if you can't save it as the file, you can screenshot, you can save it as a PDF. As long as it's submitted, that's all that matters. So what about her email? Do you think made it make the top 3 or 4 people that we're going to share it today in class? What was so good about hers? Well, one thing I'll bring up is that she attached her resume. If you want another look at it, if you're a recruiter or hiring manager, you probably see a lot of resumes. It's probably and have a lot of interviews. It can be very easy to say, well, which one was Amna? Remember her? Remember this person? Remember this person? Some interviewers might do 10 interviews, 20 interviews in one day. So she's saying, this is my interview. This is my resume to remind you. It shows being thankful. Majida says, excellent. Yes, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. It shows humility, professional language, next steps. Yep, all of the above. So this is an example of a perfect score, everything you want to do. And the call to action is, here's my resume if you want to take another look at it, as opposed to just saying, hey, thanks for your time. There's a clear, concise call to action. Usman says it's better than mine. Well, I mean, if I did this deliverable, it would be better than mine too, Usman, so don't feel bad. Nice job. Rahul, excellent job. This is a perfect score as well. So Rahul's I thought was great. One of the things I like about his is that it was very, very quick, like very to the point. Remember we talked about yesterday when you write an email, it should not be super long. It should not require someone to scroll multiple times. This is, 4 questions, four sentences rather, or 4 lines. I like the hope your day proceeds amazingly. I thought that was a nice touch. Have a fantastic day. Like he used very colorful language, Rahul, which I enjoyed, because if I'm a recruiter or hiring manager, I'm going to think, oh, this Rahul guy seems, down to earth and someone I would like to spend time with and get to, know. So you use appropriate, language like that. So that was really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Actually,
yeah.
Sorry, I had you just answered my question, but my question was going to be like, how detailed do we want to be, or how long do we want these emails to be?
Yeah, I think what you did, Rahul, was spot on. I mean, it's just enough information that you're not overwhelming, but it also gets across what you want to get across. And as you can see, you did everything. You had the subject line. That was number 1. You had a proper greeting. Hello, Mr. Hoke. You had everything. There was no typos. There was no grammatical errors. You have a call to action. If you have any additional questions, give me a call. And then you have a proper sign off and your signature. So this is a perfect score. So great job. All right, last one. Oh, never mind. There is no last one. That was it. All right, so what we're going to do is this. It's 11:13. Let's come back at 11:20, and we'll do our breakout for today. Go ahead and go off camera, go on mute, go get a coffee, use the bathroom, and we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, everybody, if you're back, it's 11:20. Please put your cameras on. Okay. So we got 25 more minutes of class. As you are all well aware, this whole entire week and a little bit of last week as well, we spent talking about Outlook. So at this point, you all should be what we call SMEs, subject matter experts on Outlook and how it works and some of its functions. So this is going to be your breakout. With your team, you need to create a 3 to 5 minute presentation on how do you manage your Outlook, making sure that you use key terms, that's number one, and making sure that everybody has a chance to speak. You don't have to create a presentation like a PowerPoint if you don't want to. It could just be a dialogue, that's fine, but it should be about this long, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and talking about how do you manage your Outlook, how do you get the best use out of it, making sure you use the key terms that we've discussed this past week. Can you raise your hand if you have any questions about that before I send you all into your breakout rooms? Nope, pretty self-explanatory. All right, so your rooms are going to be about 4 people each. You'll have a few rooms with 3, but I'm going to go ahead and send you, so when it pops up on the screen, go ahead and head to your room.
Eric, I have a question.
Okay.
So are we doing like everything on PowerPoint or just Outlook?
Everything's about Outlook. You don't have to make a presentation if you don't want.
No, I'm saying like, okay, so everything Outlook based.
Everything's Outlook based. Yep.
Everything in Outlook. Okay.
Yep.
Not the whole 365. Okay.
Not the whole, just Outlook. Yes.
Okay.
Good question. Shantae, is your hand up?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
For Schoology, I've been trying to like get into it, like to do the deliverables and everything, but every time I try to log in with either my email or my Europe email, it doesn't let me log in.
Okay, so what I need you to do, Shantae, is email Kachun because he's a Schoology admin,
Okay.
And he'll help you out.
Okay, thanks, Eric.
You're welcome, Shantae. Eric, Naftali, are you guys there? Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, there are 3 groups that I'm going to call on to report out, but I'll wait until everybody's back into the room.
Hey, Eric, I have a quick question, if I may.
Yes, Ashley Ross.
What exactly is a clear call to action? Should you word it as "I want you to," or is that rude?
No, no. A clear call to action is essentially saying like there's a next step that I want you to take as a result of this email. So like what Amna did, that was a clear call to action. I attached my resume here if you want to take a second look. Like you're giving them a reason for your writing. If you just write and say, thanks for the interview, have a nice day, that there's no clear call to action. Every email should have a clear call to action. It's a good question. All right, looks like everybody's back. I'm gonna ask group 7 to share first. Group 7 was Shante, Manny, and Kevin. I'm gonna ask group 2 to share next. Evelyn, Majida, Usman, and Tiana. And group 6 to share third. Ashley Ross, Kevin Vasquez, Moses, and Nicholas. So let's start off with, yeah, exactly, Shante. Lucky number 7, which is Shante, Manny, and Kevin. Whoever's gonna go first, unmute yourself and share with us what you got.
Okay, no problem. Just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna take out and take out something real quick. Okay.
You see your screen floating? All right, thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Emmanuel.
Hello guys, my name is Kevin.
Hi guys, I'm Shantae.
And this is how you probably manage Outlook. Create up the best group, Kevin, Shantae, and Manny. So what we got you today is first of all, Outlook, it has email, right? So the way you set up your inbox is by folder, importance, friends, personal business. And importance is the way is when you put like the things that you're gonna talk about in your meetings, in your how do you set up your schedule for your friends, obviously. That's when you talk in Khalees type of language, not formal, but not professional at the same time, just average. Your personal, which is like that's where you have your advertisements, etc., etc. And business, where you keep your sponsors and so on and so on and so on.
Okay, next we have calendar, and we could use Outlook to create calendars and meetings and to be more organized, to help us with our schedules and when we are meeting other colleagues or attendees.
And then last but not least, we have notes where if you have a meeting with somebody and you want to not forget the topic of the meeting, you could write it down for yourself, like make a little note. Or if the person in the meeting or the group in the meeting is telling you something that you don't want to forget that you need to do, you could write that down. And it's always good like to bring like a little notepad or a clipboard. And then for the agenda, you could always put it like based on importance. Like if it's personal, then you could like not bring anything, but if it's professional, it's great to bring stuff with you to look more professional.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and clap it up for group number 7. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. All right, group number 2 is up. Evelyn, Majida, Usman, and Tiana.
Just give me 1 second.
Yep, not a problem. Yeah, agreed, David. Great PowerPoint. I love the transition slides, which we're going to talk about next week. You're going to learn all about Microsoft Word and PowerPoint next week. Woohoo. Don't look so excited, all right? I have to say, one of the things that I think I'm pretty good at is making, what could be a pretty boring topic pretty fun. So that's some of the feedback that I've gotten. Like, wow, even though this is like intro to computers and it's pretty basic, it's actually a lot of fun. So thank you for that person that gave me that feedback. I won't embarrass them.
I'm going to share my screen now.
Pablo says this is my favorite class. Oh, Pablo, you probably say that to all your instructors. All right, Majid, we can see your screen. He does, Ashley Ross.
So what is Outlook? Well, Outlook is somewhere that is a platform where you can communicate often. And this is our presentation by me, Tiana, Usman, and Evelyn.
For our inbox, it contains incoming emails. Color code your emails according to specific words or dates. News emails on top, prioritize them according to specific words, and star the email to differentiation. And okay.
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, drafts. I'm Evelyn, drafts. Drafts go directly into the drafts folder, and you can always come back to save text.
One of the most important things about Outlook, it's the meetings. You can organize meetings, use color codes to know which meeting it's like, which colors for which meeting. You could set up reoccurring meetings for a year or just for one time. You could have schedule assist help you determine what's the best time for everyone involved to meet, and it gives you the option of having like priority of who's required to come in, who's optional. And thank you guys. That is our presentation.
And
oh yeah, go ahead, Majida. Sorry.
no, it's okay. I did want to mention is the calendar that we Outlook has. It's a very specific, special feature of Outlook, I would say, because it's where you can organize your daily meetings, and you could directly put your emails into a specific attachment, and then it could directly go into your calendar as well to have you better organized. Okay, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Can we go ahead and hear it for group number 2? Give them the clap, and they did an awesome job. Presentation was on brand, it was on point. So now we know that group number 2 is going to teach class next week. So awesome. Well, it looks like group number 6, you have been spared by the clock because it's getting close to the end of our time. So we're not going to have you go. But I'm going to go ahead and ask Mahmoud, if you don't mind, can you read the deliverables? I'll just put it into the chat box.
So tonight you should be posting 2 replies to the 5 takeaways from Oracle discussion. You should have already posted at least 1 post on Tuesday, but tonight you need to post 2 replies.
Yes, and have a fun and safe weekend. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at a Friday feedback for those who are in LCM. Everybody else, I'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Eric.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Gracias, Eric.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, Julissa, do you have a question?
Yeah. So I was looking on Schoology and I saw that you had commented that I hadn't put the signature, but I had put in the comment that I have taken 2 screenshots because
Okay.
the thing. So the second screenshot is where my signature is. I just
Okay,
want
great.
to clarify that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and look back in Schoology once class is over and double check that and adjust the grade.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. Have a
Okay,
good
yeah. As you, one thing about me, Julissa, I'm not very good at details, so I'm like that's just my own fault. So I'll go back and double check that. But thanks for letting me know.
Have
See
a
you
good day.
later. You too.
Thank you.
Ashley Ross, you have your hand up.
Yes, I have a question about the email to the person after the interview.
Mhm.
So I wrote at the end, I hope to hear back from you soon. Is that not a clear call to action? Like I want a response, like back.
Yeah, you know, it's dicey. It's like kind of open-ended because like a call to action is like, I'm writing you this email for a specific reason as I like it warrants a response. So like, you know, some of the people said like, here's my resume, you can take a look at it. If you have any questions, you know, give me a call. Those are like clear call to actions, whereas that one's a little bit dicey. But I'll tell you what, since you were so kind to stay afterwards and talk to me, I'll go back and maybe after I eat my leftover Indian food, I'll feel more gracious and adjust your grade.
All right, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ashley. See ya. Do you have a question, Hannah? Just can't find the leave the meeting button.
Yes, mine is, you left me for the last. You always do this to me, man.
I don't know what it is. I just think we just, you know, we always have good conversations about hiking and going to Boston and all these fun things.
Yeah, I'm going hiking in Harriman State Park this weekend. But,
nice.
I actually have the same problem as Jaleesa, but all you have to do is go to the screenshot and see that there's two. I know we're both using Schoology.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. I'll go back. I did it like very quickly this morning. I'll go back and double check it and adjust it.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye.